Welcome to Squatch-D TV, where the truth is first before all else. Join your hosts, veteran investigator, TV personality, and author Steve Coles, and from the Kentucky Bigfoot Research Project and the Kentucky Fried Fixes channel, Chris Bennett. Sit back and prepare to take yourself on a journey with the longest-running Bigfoot podcast, Squatch-D TV. Here are your hosts, Steve and Chris.
And hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Squatch-D TV Sunday night, our 2-hour extravaganza. Hello, Chris, the co-host with the most right down there. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, man? I've been doing really good here in Kentucky. Our weather is lovely. I mean, we're low 60s. You know, it's beautiful. I think I'm going to get to save on the electric bill this month.
Which is what, bent over?
Yeah, that's usually the price. Yeah.
So anyway, we have one heck of a show tonight. Everybody has checked in, and me talking to Will tonight, and we're going to be talking about a trail cam photo. Yes, it's not the clearest thing, but it's not something we're going to need a red circle for. So that's the good news. Yeah. And we did what we can with it, and it was quite surprising. But anyway, let's do our roll call real quick. Chris, so in tonight, awesome. First in tonight is Walter Kroll. Of course, Bristol. Sharon, of course, is here. Sharon. Karen Fisher, hello. Pat Collins, hello. Pat. My neighbor from the north. Mitch Hargrove, what's going on? Grant Rasha, Goonie Goo Goo. Oh, that's Boris. Ron Meldrum, what's happening? Ron. Boris Kahn, there he is.
Boris.
Roy Longley, hello.
Roy,
Jay
Lurker.
Carey, what's going on?
Jay.
Jennifer Arnold, hello, welcome back. Good to see you. Jeff, my good buddy, also another neighbor, Jeff Trifoletti, how's it going, my brother? Kathy Zabrowski, how are you?
Welcome.
The Susie Monster, of course.
Susie.
And Chris, what's going on? Helton. Chris, my friend, how are you? Angel Nolan, hello. Jen, what's going on? The bouncer's in the house. Look out. Of course, Baron is probably doing fine. Doing the same thing mine is, sleeping in the chair. Senior Chief in the house. Hello, Senior Chief. Good to see you, Chief.
Welcome.
Gary Johnson Sr., what's up?
Gary?
Brack Orchard, hello. Boy, we got a real full house tonight. Of course, Sandra Piper, good to see you back. And here we are.
I think that's everybody for now, and everybody just kind of shuffle in from the back. And hello to the lurkers out there. You know, we appreciate you. You don't have to say hi, but you can if you want to. It's optional.
All right. Let's get down to business.
Oh, yes.
So let's, a real quick brief. Case synopsis. On August 20th, 2025, at approximately 12:30 p.m., a Samoa solar trail camera captured an anomalous figure standing midstream on a private farm near Poplar Bluff, Missouri. The witness, alerted by a cellular notification, observed the still frame on his phone and immediately noticed a large upright form in the creek. Within 10 to 15 seconds, when he attempted a live view, the subject was not there. That evening, the witness and his brother investigated the site. No footprints were found on the gravel banks. The subject appeared to have remained in the water. To test scale, the brother, 6 foot even, later stood in the same position in the creek bed while the camera captured a control photo under similar observations. The comparison photo confirmed a significant size discrepancy between the known subject and the original capture. So that's just the brief introduction, and we're going to get into everything tonight. Let me just make sure we got our... I want to make sure we have the original picture ready to bring up what he saw, and let's bring Will onto the stage. Hello, Will. Good to see you.
Hey, good to see you guys. Absolutely, good to meet you. Good to see you guys.
We had a nice little chat beforehand before we got on, make sure everybody's levels were good, and so here we are. So, all right, well, yeah, you don't have to tell us about yourself, but tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, how long you've lived there, and you know,
Yeah, absolutely. My name's Will Boving. I'm 33.
He likes fishing, and
I'm a great guy, right? No, we've had, so my dad actually bought this property. It used to be 1,000-acre chunk altogether, back in the mid '80s, and we have since kind of shifted a little bit of it, but my brother and I own a few different chunks around it now, and this specific chunk is across the road. It's about a 200-acre chunk, and me and my wife, when we met in 2015, got married in 16, bought this property in 17, and we've owned it since then, and it really haven't done anything with it. Just dreaming about building out there one day, but it's always been the farm, so we're not really out there a whole lot. But anyway, that's
Has some tree cover on this property, Will?
Yeah, it's a good combination of a lot of things. It's very steep. So there's a road that runs along the ridge that goes through this property, and then there is probably 150 acres of it is a bowl shape,
right? And
it's heavy tree cover. And then in the bottom there is a grown-up flat field that we don't row crop it or anything, nothing like that. Just kind of bush hog it every now and then, but it's very dense, thick vegetation, and that field backs up against our northern border, which is this creek.
Right.
So
now,
very good.
Now, why did you have the camera up there? Because I didn't know that until we had spoke earlier, really. But why was the camera up there in the first place?
So earlier this summer, we were trying to figure out some way to just kind of go somewhere, whether it be a river or a lake, with the kids. So I've got 3 little kids, and we didn't really want to go somewhere super public. So we found out that this creek up a little bit on the property, there was a spot where you could drive like a four-wheeler or a side-by-side down to it. And we cleared out as much space as we could, probably, 100 foot wide by maybe 20 foot deep, right up against the creek. And we've spent pretty much every weekend during the summer down there with them, just splashing around, hanging out. And, but we have, some kayaks down there. They'll go out in this little spot that's actually a little bit deeper than the rest of it. And, just paddle around, just hang out, And so those kayaks, they're not too cheap. And so we don't really have a good way to bring all 3 kayaks up and down, because it takes about 10 or 15 minutes to get down to this spot. And so we just leave them down there. So the point with the camera was that's downstream, probably 200 or 300 yards from that spot. And that was the only good spot on a tree that was up high enough that wouldn't be in a flood, to where, if we're getting a ton of rain one day, or I know we're going to have a big rainstorm, I can look on there if I'm out of town, because half the time I'm out of state. So that way I could just pull up the camera, see, okay, the water's coming up pretty quick. And so I could call my wife or my brother or someone and be like, hey, we need to get the kayaks pulled up or tied off or something before they float away.
Right.
So that was the whole reason the camera was there, was just literally for flood observation, I guess, more or less. And I had only put it up there probably 3 weeks before we got this picture, because we had lost a kayak in a flood. So that was the whole reason we put it up.
It's in a whole other county right now.
Yeah, we have no one has found it, so I don't know where it floated to. But anyway, I was like, well, it'd be a lot cheaper to just put a camera down there, and at least that way, maybe, if it's flooded and we see a bright yellow kayak floating down, we can at least see, like, hey, there it is.
Hey, Chris, I just got an idea.
What, man?
Yeah. The next short I do, maybe we'll have Bigfoot in a kayak, thanking Will for it.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Or
Anyway.
let him find Will's kayak.
Ooh.
That's what I found.
It's out there somewhere. He might have it. Who knows?
Anyway, so let's get into the day of the picture, and then we'll get the picture up here in a second.
All right. So it was I think it was a Wednesday, if I remember right. I was in town. So what I do for work, anyway, just background story. I'm a crane technician for a company that builds bridges.
Oh wow!
So I'm everywhere the cranes are, which is spread out over the entire state of Arkansas and from halfway Missouri down. So I could be anywhere at any time. So, but I just happened to be in town that day, Wednesday, and my wife had just got off work. And so I was like, hey, let's go grab lunch. And so we met up, and I think it was like noon when we met. We went to this restaurant called Los Margaritas. It's a Mexican restaurant here in town. And we were just hanging out like any other day. And so I had my phone sitting next to me. Normally, I never, ever, ever check the notifications from that camera because I'm not looking for anything. But it was sitting right there next to me while I was eating. Right. And so it came up as the notification. And so I just glanced at it. And then I did a double take. And I was like, hold on. So I opened it and I zoomed in for a second. I was like, what the heck is that? So I turned it around, showed my wife. I was like, what is that? She said, I don't know. And so I got my phone back. I went to go look at the live view, which took about 10 or 15 seconds before the live view pulled up, and it was already gone. And so I got that one picture and I was like, what the heck was that? And so that kind of started the whole thing with, we got to get down there and figure out what that was. Right. I was like, she's like, well, it's somebody in the creek. I was like, no. I was like, because she had not seen where specifically I'd put. She doesn't spend as much time down there as I do in that spot. So, and I understand that if you're not from around, like looking at that all the time, it's like, but I know where I put the camera. I was like, that would have to be a massive man. And so anyway, I was intrigued about it. And then later that day, I texted my brother, Red, and I was like, hey, let's go. I was like, do you have time to go down there with me and just kind of investigate? For one, I don't want to go down there by myself at the moment because I don't know what that is. But I was like, can we just go down there and figure out what this, thing is or whatever? Just kind of, make sure there's nothing on the lens or anything like that. But then anyway, we get down there and he walks in, and as because right there where the tree's at is up off the water, probably 5 or 6 feet. And he gets down there and he starts walking down the bank, and I'm standing there by the camera looking at the screenshot of the image that it took. And as he's walking back, I can already tell he is much shorter and narrower, just all around smaller than whatever that is. So by the time he actually gets there, I was like, there's no comparison. I was like, this thing is like 4 foot taller. And so we immediately were looking for like horse prints or something like that, just anything to make sense.
You guys are back there doing your due diligence, and that's great. I love that. Your brother is, how tall is your brother now?
He's 6 foot without shoes.
So okay.
Yeah.
So as your brother's walking down towards the area where the creature was, you can see he's really, really small compared to.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. And that was,
I love it.
Because our first thought was it's something big, but naturally we wanted to make immediate physical sense of it.
Yeah.
And so but nothing came up that made, we couldn't find anything that size in this part of the country. Well, for one, there's nothing that big in this part of the country. And it's like say it was a horse or something like that. You've got so much weight on such a small footprint. And there's horses down there, not down there, but just out and about all the time. I mean, anywhere where it's soft, they're leaving, 6 to 8 inch deep hoof marks everywhere.
Right.
And they're Outback says that, well, maybe there should have been prints in that sand, but that's not always the case. Number one, we don't know if it was even on the sand barge to start with.
Yeah.
It could have come off from the left into the water and back out to the left. It could be just it hit the substrate just right where it didn't capture. I know we live in New York and prints are very hard to find because of the substrate. Or maybe there were some prints out there and Will and his brother just happened to miss them. Sometimes that happens too.
Well, it would have been nice if it had got him
just
strolling
playing
across
devil's
that
advocate
sandbar.
here and not defending, but giving good reasons why. To me, that's not a big indicator that it's not a Bigfoot or not an animal, because a lot of times we'll see animals, and they don't leave tracks. I've especially in New York. It has to be really muddy and clay-like to really capture some good stuff. And sand is really a very hard. If you look at sand itself, it's very coarse. So it doesn't necessarily capture all the time. The footprints in the sand you see, they were very well made a lot of times, including the what was that? The London Trackway up in Oregon that Cliff had studied. That turned out to be kind of a wash, and that was in the sand as well. But wash.
That would have been cool if the subject was walking across the sandbar there, but it's obviously
we don't know.
in the creek.
We don't know.
That's the thing too with because so right behind it, if you're looking at the picture, right behind it to the right, the creek curves back that direction.
So actually, you know what, Chris, go ahead, keep on going. I'm going to check one thing, something I did not check into, but it may also.
Okay, babe.
The other thing too is the in the bottom of that creek, like underneath the water, the rocks are like the size of your fist. So there's no print to be able to be left.
Right.
If something walks in the water down there, as long as it's in the water, it is super rocky. So there is no silt, there's no sand. It's just rocky, hard, big rocks. So
if I was walking through there and I didn't want somebody to see my tracks, I would probably stick to the water too.
Right. Yeah. Makes sense.
But that would seem to be that if they're a reasoning creature, which I think they are.
Yeah, I could see it.
But that's an interesting picture, and what I love about this, how long was it between the time you got the photo till somebody was actually out there to check on it?
I got off work at 5 and then went home, changed, probably 6 o'clock maybe. So
So that was literally the same day, right?
Yeah. It was 5 or 6 hours later, probably. Yeah. Somewhere in there. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah. Do you guys get a lot of rain?
Yeah, quite a bit. This has actually been a uncharacteristically dry summer.
Yeah.
But normally we do get quite a bit of rain.
Yeah, I think Steve is going to bring up the other comparison photo here in a minute, but he's
no, I'm trying to get the weather for the day, but Weather Underground is being a complete jerk. It's got all these pop-ups now, and I'm trying to click on things, and the whole thing is going up and down and moving, and
we love pop-ups.
The screen is not working. I'm going to try one other way, so give me a minute.
Yeah, that was from Jennifer. It was just a matter of hours, Jennifer, about 5 hours. That's a fast investigation. That's a fast follow up. Usually, if I have to go back, it's usually at least the next day. At the soonest.
That's just how curious I was, and for one, I was looking for just some sort of second opinion. I sent it to my brother.
Right.
And I was like, well, I'll go off of his reaction. And the first thing he said was, "What the heck is that?" I was like, "Okay,
right.
Let's go look at it."
Well, I love that you've created a nice little nature camping play area there for your children, and the kids love to play in a creek. I know I did when I was growing up. Love it.
Oh yeah, it's not too deep. You don't have to worry about. It's just that perfect like knee deep.
Yeah,
to
they can go
waist
out
deep.
there and sit down, and you don't have to worry about them.
Yeah. It's a trouble-free, fun time.
Okay.
Let's see. Walter's got a good one. Walter says, so Will, did you find any evidence or prints or access anywhere along the bank?
So we walked down. So the camera is facing upstream. So the water in the creek is actually coming towards the camera.
Okay. All right.
So we went from where it was up, because I figured if it would have come from downstream, we would have had a picture sooner.
Right.
So, and I mean, we looked a little bit of everywhere, but we went off every direction from where it was, and then probably upstream, maybe 200 or 300 feet just to see what we could see. But it is so dense.
Right.
And I am highly allergic to poison ivy, so I have got to be very careful with how into it I get.
Yeah.
But it goes from hard rock to just logs coming up out of the water, and then just dry earth. Like I said, it had not rained for a long time, so I mean everything is dry and cracked. There is no moisture out here right now. We just got our first rain at I guess it was
Maxwell. Watch your language. Watch your language, sir. You haven't seen what we've seen. You haven't even listened to it. You're looking at the picture right now and giving your own objective, subjective assessment. Be careful.
It's coming. It's coming.
So, and what's crazy too, like I said, as far as that due diligence stuff goes, it's like that's the way my brain works.
Right.
Okay. Gotcha, Maxwell. I wasn't sure. He's like, you're all out of here. Never mind, Maxwell. Sorry. Sometimes I see the chat halfway and I see a comment zipping by. I'm like, huh?
Well, we appreciate everybody in chat. Everybody's being respectful, and we appreciate that. Thank you, guys.
I was I hope I didn't miss anything. It was
no, man. He was joking. He was joking about something. He was being like his dry sense of humor. Oh, you're all out of your minds. That's not a bad. That's a fisherman. He's saying that sarcastically as opposed to. Yeah. So anyway, there's the weather report for that particular time period. This was actually at 12:53 p.m. Temperature was 86 degrees. The dew point was 75, which means it was really humid that day.
Right.
Wind was northeast at around 8 miles an hour. Visibility 10 miles. Pressure was 29.99, which means it was nice weather.
Right.
Holding that like 30.0 point, which is like perfect weather. And no significant clouds reported below 12,000 feet. So that's what I was working on. That's the only thing I did not do was the weather. I'm knucklehead. That's usually the first thing I do. But anyway, so you went back there on Saturday. This was on a Wednesday. You went back there a few days later.
Right.
And just to show people what this area looks like, it's pretty vast.
There's not much there.
A lot of green.
Little town there, and just, a little tiny municipal airport. So you went back on Saturday and you redid those pictures. Now we have got the comparison pictures, and we also have a report too. Because what I did was I ended up doing a report, but I think it will really hit home when people see the comparison picture, which, we got it to look a lot better than when it was, cleared it up the best we could. Of course, it's very pixelated now because it's now zoomed in.
Right.
But we can see the difference in size between the subject and your 6-foot brother. And this was done on Saturday, the control picture. So there you have the difference.
Yeah. And we Saturday was the first day we had to where we could take the control picture at the same time, because I worked the rest of the week and it was my first day,
right,
to be able to do that.
Yeah,
So
stream.
this picture was actually made a few days after.
Right.
got
And
the
you can,
notification.
and you know what the funny thing is without looking at it, you kind of could tell because the water was a little bit higher on the day of the unsub, and it was the creek is down a little bit on the recreation day. So you can see that a little bit. So anyway, what we did is we did do. Oh, Jennifer, that's a great question too. I want to put that one up there.
Says, do you still have the camera up in that area from Jennifer?
Yeah.
Sure.
So the camera is still up exactly where it was, untouched, unmoved. It has not changed position whatsoever. It's still there right now.
And nothing since, and that's very typical because we understand that Bigfoot as a primate has a pretty big home range, and it might have just been bouncing around and just passing through. Just at that. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Sreem Pier says, good job at shooting the comparison shot in the similar lighting. Yep.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, if you're watching online, guys, that's
Right.
going to appear kind of pixelated because both clips are zoomed in, so you can get a better look at the subjects.
Yeah.
Oh, hi,
Also-
Sally. Okay. So let's look at some of the technical aspects here of this because there is quite a bit. So what we ended up doing, and part of me was going through. So we have the case analysis. The local fauna include white-tailed deer, black bear, coyote, raccoon. Now, let's also make mention this is on private property, isn't that?
Yeah, completely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there you have another thing. That why would somebody be on strolling around private property? For the fishermen. So the camera we used was a Samua 4G light solar trail camera, advertised at 120-degree wide view, interpreted as diagonal. Blah blah blah. All the technical stuff. So it exported JPEGs. Did you have a memory card in that camera or no?
Did you have a memory card in the camera wheel?
Sorry, it might be my internet. It cut out for just a second. Say that one more time.
Did you have an SD card or a mini SD card in that camera?
No, not at the time.
Okay.
Because like I said, we weren't trying to
Capture
anything. I mean, it was literally just right then and there. If I wanted to look at it, we could pop it up. So there's one in there now. We've definitely
yeah.
So.
Yeah, we learned fast. Like I remember the first time finding a track going, I have no casting material. Now I carry it with me every time I go out. So yeah, I get that was way back in 2003. So don't judge me. So we have an analytical approach to ratio method, and all this wonderful technical gobbledygook. We also talked about water depth, pixel ratio, and the water depth correction. And there's the formulas we used. And would you say that's accurate about 95 to... no, sorry. Trying to think. Would it be about 195 to 105 feet from the distance from the camera to where it was?
Yeah. I mean, it's right close to that. It might even be a little far. I've not actually done that. Like took a string from there, but I mean, it's looking at it off of what we had with the tape measure we had at that day it's probably right at 100, somewhere close to there for sure. And I can get an exact number on it.
Okay. So what we have here, the assessment was under with plausible range, between the conservative assumption and maximal is roughly 8.25 to 11.5 feet, which it says. But I would say that, 8.25 to about 9 feet is about correct. With estimated 2 to 3 times that of a human subject at equal distance. The faunal comparison yields nothing that we said what kind of fauna was up here up earlier, but there's no local match. Black bear's upright reach a little under 7 feet. Deer, coyote do not present bipedally. So again, we also do, and we have to do our due diligence, that we do a forensic ELA noise metadata analysis, show no evidence of CGI, AI, or composting.
Right.
So,
so this is not something that was created by AI.
Right.
This is the real deal.
Right.
Yeah. Something else cool, just on a on a side note, I took this just for the sake of it. I screen recorded my iPhone going into the app, going down to the date, and then showing the picture of the
Oh, yeah. I have that, actually. I do have that screenshot.
Just because people are like, oh, well, it's manipulative. I'm like, no, dude, I literally took this off my iPhone.
Yeah.
I mean, like I've got like the pictures it took after that, just.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't have any control over that. It's like, it is what it is,
Right. Yep. Well, that was very smart. Good idea.
So absolutely. So where were we? The report. So yeah. So what we basically always say, we always put a disclaimer on this, as with any single photographic case, the potential misidentification or deliberate hoaxing cannot be completely excluded. However, remote setting, corroborating control experiments, and absence of forensic manipulation artifacts render deliberate hoaxing unlikely in this instance. And that's what we stand by. We stand by what the science tells us. And right now, the science is telling us that this is about 8.5 to 10.5 feet tall, which I think 10.5 is a bit big, because usually but you can, hey, what can I say? Look for yourself.
Yeah. There's no way we can specifically identify and say, yes, this is absolutely a Sasquatch. No, but we can say, and I will say right now, I like it. I like it.
Yep.
And Jennifer's got a question. Will, are there any food sources in the area, such as fruit trees or berry bushes?
Great question.
There's not, as far as fruit trees. There's I don't, unless they're planted, I would say there's not really many at all. But there is tons and tons of blackberry bushes that grow along these waterways like that down here, for sure.
Okay, so, and just to give you a little bit of, see, and first Will and I have talked face to face, kind of, because it's over that. So, in 2007, I investigated a sighting, actually at the very cusp of what I call a rural/suburban area. There were houses, but they're rural, and in woods. Your next neighbor may be, a few hundred feet up the road, with little tree cover and stuff. And we were trying to figure out, and the witnesses both there had seen it, the shadow of it walking away, and the little girl, a 3-year-old girl, saw it. She was looking out her window. It was right by her window. She was looking out the back watching it. And she described it as a big monkey. Which, kids are honest, it looks like a monkey to her. It's hairy, it's. We were trying to figure out why. Why would a Sasquatch or Bigfoot be in that particular area? I mean, it's pretty close. It's getting closer and closer to civilization. Well, wouldn't you know, the roadway down by the riverbank was aligned with blackberry bushes. So there is these are the kind of connections that you, as an investigator, you make after a time. Like, is it a coincidence? Every time there's some sort of, so when the question is there a food source? Yes, there was these blackberry bushes. Do you have any fish in that water too?
There are, So like right where the creek's at, like right where it's at, it'll neck down and it's faster moving, probably knee deep. And then every couple 100 foot, it will open up into probably 50 or 100 foot wide.
Right.
For, I don't know, maybe 4 to 6 foot depth, somewhere in there. And there are schools of fish in those areas. I've caught plenty of bluegill, smallmouth bass, stuff like that out of there. There's some small carp and stuff, but there's definitely fish down in there.
Yeah. Well, Jen says the pic on the left, is it holding something? Kind of looks like there's something dragging in the water. It's
as the person has analyzed the photo, I would say it's kind of indeterminate because number one, this is a very, very zoomed in picture. There is a lot of pixelation. Yeah. So it's hard to tell if that's not just artifact from the camera. I would say it looks like it has something, but I also see the leg too, which it kind of blends into the leg. So I don't know if it's just artifact that's, composting together. Boris asked, is there a van down by the river involved? Somebody also asked how, and I may have missed it, how deep was the water again?
Right there, it's probably like on my brother is just right below his knee cap. So maybe 20 inches, 2 foot, somewhere right in there, close to there.
And that's what believe it or not, that's what I guesstimated it as 2 feet for our analysis. And because I was like, yeah, it only looks like a couple. Because I'm looking at the, I have the bigger pictures, so I'm looking at the banks and stuff. And I said, yeah, it only looks like it's a couple of feet deep.
Maxwell says it's holding a fly fishing pole and a bag on his left side. I don't know. He can see a lot better than I can.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really hard to tell in the picture because of the pixelation. When you look at the overall shot, that pixelation dissipates a little bit. Not that much.
Yeah.
Is there something there? I don't know.
Is it a fly fisherman wearing a fur coat?
The other thing too is,
now mind you, it's 86 degrees that day, and it's private property.
The humidity, you'd have to towel off walking from the house to the car.
And how was it able to get completely out of frame within 10 to 15 seconds, unless right then and there it decided to sprint some direction? If it was what I mean? It's just, that's what I thought was interesting. It's like if it was some guy just organically going down the creek, he would have been in, for one, I would have seen him when I opened it up live, but to not be in any other shot,
I am guessing that this here is the left leg right in here. And it's actually stepping. Looks like it's going.
I don't know.
Or the leg is very narrowly in front of it. But
I think the left leg is stepping forward. If we're looking at the back now, I would think the left leg is stepping forward because I see that right.
I think it's actually, this is the leg here.
That was my thought.
Because that makes a lot more sense. Otherwise, it's going to have some damn skinny ass legs.
Well, that's what I thought. It was walking. I thought it was walking towards the camera, and you can see its arms down there. You can see its elbows. It's facing the camera with its left leg down, and it's picking its right leg up, and that's the inside of its right knee coming towards the camera. And it's
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. That's actually walking towards us.
Yeah, it's splashing water up with its foot coming this direction.
That kind of makes sense.
That's when I guess it saw the camera, and I don't know.
It's hard to say.
It is. It's that's why we tried to do. I was like, I don't know what it is. We're just gonna do our, get as much data as we can as quick as we can. But
that's what's difficult to know. Is it walking toward or away? Do you believe it's walking toward the camera?
I thought it was just, no more than I know. I thought it was walking towards us, and it's got its arms kind of like like halfway in a trot, and it's
Right.
picking up its right leg, and we're seeing the shadow on the inside of its right knee as it's lifting its foot out of the water, and then you can't see from its shin down because there's so much water coming up as it picks its foot up.
Yeah.
And so that's what I had thought. I don't, it's hard to say.
Well,
Trying to look.
Grasshopper says it's pretty far out there for a trail cam to not have more than one shot. Was that the only picture that your camera took?
Well, it's not taking pictures. It's sending an image, and that's the only. And well, I'll let Brian explain. But there's that, and then again, we do have that. Here's the.
Right.
Yeah, that's the original. I mean, that's the format that I got it in.
Right.
Um,
So we got one snapped at 15:16, then 15:19. That's like 3 minutes between.
They're going in most recent to farthest. So he started at 12:30. The next picture wasn't until 3:12.
Right.
Yeah. And I know. I mean, that was the weird thing is like when me and my brother were down there in that spot, we couldn't get the camera to trigger. So either at that distance, we weren't big enough to get it to trigger, or it just happened to trigger as it was walking down, because later in the day, you can see that limb on the right side kept giving it false triggers.
Right.
Right.
And that's why I never even pay attention to these. Like I said, I knew it wasn't raining that day, so I didn't even look at it. I just happened to see it because it was sitting on the table next to me as I was eating chips and dip,
Yeah.
But
well, Jennifer Arnold says, has there been a history of sightings in that general area?
So like I was saying, it's never really been on my radar at all.
Let me do the homework. Go ahead. You can
say that one more time. It was
let me do some homework, and you go right ahead, because that was another question. What county are you in, by the way?
Butler County.
Well, that's the first one in Butler County, actually, that's been reported to the BFRO. What's the next neighboring county next to you?
We've got like Carter. Carter's really close to us. Ripley County, Stoddard County. I'd say Ripley or Carter County. Those are our hilly county neighbors next to us.
Now, that's very interesting. There is nothing in Carter County, but in April of 1998, campers have a nighttime encounter in the Mark Twain National Forest. Its appearance was different than what most people report. It was about 4 feet tall, like a baby Bigfoot. It was on two legs and very stocky, and the sounds it made were not like any of the ones on your website, blah, blah, blah. So that was that one. And there was another sighting, and like I say, not all sightings get reported to the BFRO. This is just a...
Right.
Yeah, and then there was a... on I don't know what it is, Ripley County, on T Highway. We drove down T Highway. We observed a large creature standing in the center of the road. Stopped the car several feet away, and it turned and looked at us, and then one big jump went from the middle of the road and over the fence and loped across the field.
Well, the Bigfoot Musk expert wants to know, did you guys smell any aroma or any kind of odor when you went to do your follow-up?
We not that we noticed. I mean, I don't even think we were looking for that necessarily. We were just investigating, but I don't remember any smell. Just offhand.
Oh, wow. Thank you for that. That is phenomenal. I'm going to put that up. A cleaned up picture sent to us by one of our users here. And this is the beautiful thing. Kaiju, hold that thought. We're going to talk about that in a second. So I'm actually going to star your comment there and keep it up there. But watch the... I don't know how this was done, but
Oh man.
Wow. That makes a lot more sense. And from that picture, it does look like we have the business end of the Sasquatch going away from us, not coming towards us.
Huh. Man,
And
that's
if you look at the water, and there is a change in color of the water. I'm only saying this, that maybe that was its path, but I don't know. But that, wow.
Looks like it's turned to the left, going off screen to the left. And that should be the right leg.
Bigfoot
that we're looking
fades.
at.
Thank you so much. Great
Looks good.
job.
yeah, I
That
can
would-
see
Thank
that. Seeing it like that, I can definitely see, because it's like the sun. You can see where the sun hits it different.
Right. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
It's brighter colored, and then when it's in the shadow, it's
Wow.
obviously a little darker. But it's seeing it from
Yeah.
that is.
I was thinking on the back, those were shoulder blades and not and not Patterson Gimlin female objects.
Right. Man, that's pretty crazy there, seeing it like that.
Jokingly, Maxwell says the head size is messing up with my fisherman theory, though.
Yeah,
That
the
now
head is-
that looks a lot, you know. Like I said, did I not tell you, Will, that we have like the greatest audience out there?
Oh yeah. I was.
And boom, just like that.
Yeah,
So-
that's pretty amazing there.
So I will email that to you if you want me to.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love that. Yeah, because I'm just as intrigued as I want people to figure out what, you know what I mean. I want to put all the data out there. So stuff like this, that's crazy seeing it like that. You know, just cleaned up.
Yeah, when I saw it, I'm like, wow, now that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
Yep,
he
that's
said
right. You
don't
don't need a
need-
yep.
don't need a
told
red
you. I
circle.
told you at the beginning of the show. This one doesn't need a red circle. Dehazing it. Gotcha. Good job. Good job. Thank you. I will add that into my photo arsenal on my system here.
that's wild.
Yeah. So it was just dehazed.
One other thing that I thought was interesting, like I said, my brain thinks mechanically, like that's how I operate, you know? So like, you know, with cranes, they've got a wider footprint. They're made to put a ton of weight on the least amount of surface, or, you know, a big surface area, but less weight in one small spot.
Right.
And so for super big, heavy things like that, you know, if it was on a hoof or something, that would be a ton of pressure in a small spot, which would
Yes.
lose a print.
Well,
So-
we clearly know now that this is not a horse.
Right. You know,
Right,
and,
right, yeah.
and thinking, you know, something this size or this weight, you know, if it has a you know, human shaped type foot, it's going to be putting way less pressure on the ground anyway. So, I mean, it would be
Ah.
footprint anyway, you know?
So, are you familiar with Strenfell Apple Orchard?
I know. So we've got some neighbors up the creek from us with that last name.
Ah.
But
So
yeah,
That's a definite popular food source for
Yes.
apples. Yeah.
apples.
yeah, there's a big, and it's if it's where I think it is, it's right on 10 Mile, which is this stream further up.
Kaiju Ninja says definitely not a platypus.
Absolutely not. You're right.
That's one of our running jokes here is the platypus.
Right.
It used to be the porcupine, but that kind of outgrew itself.
The platypus has grown legs.
Yeah, you should see the bill for that one.
Man, that's wild.
Oh, that's terrible.
Right there.
So,
That-
yeah, it has a really long head, or it's or again, what you may actually see is that more of that, you know, muscularity in the trapezus.
Right. Yeah. Well, Will, you guys cleaned this area out, and so you could take your kids down there and camp and stuff. Did you spend like overnights there anytime, or did you usually just go take them for a few hours and go back to the house?
Yeah, that was it. We ideally we wanted to build a little bit flatter spot down there to actually, be able to put a tent up and stuff. It's still, I mean, it's we've opened it up, but it's still unlevel enough to really have a good tent spot. So that was kind of our next summer goal, was to get a spot where we could put a tent, but we had not really stayed overnight, down there to do that yet. But
had you heard any odd noises or anything that seemed strange while you were in that area?
We had a little bit. I mean, not anything that I was, overly concerned with, because I just assumed. I mean, there's always been howls coming out of that valley area where it's at.
Right.
But
you have a friend.
Well, there's definitely coyotes down there. I know we know there's coyotes, but it's we've never a howl from where we're at. If we're down there, we never really hear howls. But where we stay up on top of the road, I mean, you can hear howls down in this valley. I mean, it's as a crow flies half a mile away, and I mean you can hear them crystal clear.
Right.
And I mean, we just always assumed it was coyotes, but there's one specific instance, probably, I'm going to say 10 years ago. We were down there and we were actually looking for beavers, because there's this little tiny slough that kind of will flood that valley down there. But we heard one crazy screeching howl that kind of was like, okay, none of us can make sense of what that was, and that was kind of the end of the trip.
Yeah.
And that, we didn't really think about it much after that. We're just, we kind of just agreed that, okay, let's get out of here. This is creepy.
Understandable. 99% of the time you hear coyotes or a pack of coyotes, you say, well, hey, coyotes, hey, they're down here. And then every now and then you hear some kind of odd screech, and it's like, what was that? I don't know. Right. Probably a coyote, probably.
Yeah, that Kaylee Evans, the one that mentioned that, that's actually my sister. She doesn't live here.
Welcome, Kaylee.
At the time, she was here, and her husband, and that's who we were with. We were all down there, and we yeah, it was creepy. I mean, it creeped all of us out. We didn't know what it was, and it was booming loud, and it was not. We were getting way into the swamp area, because there's a big chunk right up, probably 500 yards from where the camera is.
Right.
It kind of goes into a swampy area. It's not, I mean, the creek is still there, but it really spreads out, and it is completely unnavigable, like just swamp area.
Right. You're not taking your kayak in there, right?
No, there's no, yeah. And so we were really getting in there, and that's when we heard the scream in there. And it's like, man, whatever that was, I mean, might be able to find its way out of this faster than we can. And so we just opted to, I mean, it was freaky enough. We left. And I mean, that was, as far as an audible thing that happened, that was a very, very loud, audible scream, screech, howl type thing.
And it's kind of funny now, looking back on it, after you get a photo like this, looking back on it, do you kind of wonder, well, maybe that was something pretty odd? Yeah,
that's the problem. It's it really makes you question being down there alone.
Right.
Like I said, this was never on my radar at all. We were down there, I go down there quite a bit, on the weekends or something, just hanging out, clearing if I can, but and then seeing this, it's like, all right, that's kind of creepy, that's why,
So is that the correct camera?
Yeah.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah, I bought the 2-pack when I bought these ones. I've got one right now at the end of my driveway, and then I had this one just sitting there, and so that's the one we put down there. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Yep. So the answers to that question.
Solar powered, yes.
Yeah, it's all solar, all 4G.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's it.
That's probably why it's a little bit miserly sending you images, because it's kind of trying to preserve battery power.
Well, and that too, it like the one at my driveway, it's up on top of the hill.
Mm-hmm.
And it's right there. There's good cell service. So I can have it opt to default send me high definition pictures.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't eat up as much data because I have notifications turned off. I just look at it if like someone tries to like open the gate or something.
Right.
This one's down there. It's got like one bar of data, just enough to actually send pictures.
Right.
So I could never get it to send a picture if it was on high definition. So I guess standard definition is easier for it to send. And so it's always just stayed on standard definition, which is whatever that camera came with. And so that's why that's the best picture it got. And it's also, 100 foot away from the camera. It's never designed to take a detailed picture that far away.
Right.
And like I said, we took the same picture of my brother in the same spot with the same camera, and you can tell how pixelated he is,
Yeah.
But it's kind of crazy.
Okay, so what type? So the question is, what types of livestock are nearby? So I know the local fauna include white-tailed deer, black bear, coyote, raccoon, and those are your bigger fauna. But is there any livestock farms nearby or anything like that?
Not. There's cattle. There's Black Angus, like probably from that spot as a crow flies, probably a mile away.
Okay.
But that's it. There's really not anything out there. It's so hilly right there in that area. And a lot of the people I've talked to here local, that know me and know where the farm's at, are just, they've all been, in the same boat as far as like, what is that? Because it's nothing really can get down there, that could just conveniently be that size and in and out that quick. And I know there's no cattle down there because we've got cows, over there on that spot. They're about a mile away.
Right.
And they can't go anywhere without being very obvious. They're leaving 4-inch hoof marks on the ground. They crap every 12 feet. It's very obvious, And
the subject in the picture here doesn't look like a cow to me.
No, I think the question was raised as far as food source. Doesn't look like it's carrying anything, to tell you the truth. Yeah. When you see the dehazed picture, it does not look like it's carrying anything.
No.
Yeah, they added added pixelation in the other one, probably made it look.
I still think this is walking away from us. That this is part of the buttock. See, that may represent the butt crack there.
I can see
there's the leg folded.
Yeah.
There's the top of the leg. Of course, the sun is shining on it. It seems to have the proper glare, right? And I think what we're looking at is right here is a shoulder blade that's more prominent because the arm is coming back and this one is going forward. So when you bring your arm forward, your shoulder blade recedes into your back a bit. Whereas when you bring your arm back, your shoulder blade comes back out. Not the scapula. Scapula's here. Scapula is the collarbone. So yeah, and what you may see here is, what may be missing a little bit is this defined trapezus, which is right in here.
Yeah, shoulders dropping off a little bit, kind of.
Right. And what you may see it be standing up a little more straighter. What you're not seeing is a long head. What you're seeing is a conical shaped head. Right. And you think about it, gorillas. If you look at a gorilla, which is the most obvious thing that has a sagittal crested head, their heads look long too. Ever see a gorilla skull? It's long.
Yeah.
So that all tends to make sense.
Yeah, it's pretty. It kind of looks like it's just nonchalantly walking down the creek,
Yep.
And I see, and seeing it like that, with that, whoever did that did a phenomenal job. Seeing it like that clears it up so much. And it just reiterates what, we were thinking. It's like, I kept waiting for someone to clear this up and be like, oh, obviously it's this. But now it's like, it looks even more, I don't know.
Any circus animals missing from a train accident, say about 60 years ago? more like 100. Jacko. But the interesting thing is what you see here with this DeHaze picture is you're seeing a little muscularity now.
Yeah. Yeah, and especially one thing that I've been looking at was, when you look at other animals with shaggy fur, seeing where the shade is on that fur versus where the flat spots are facing the sun. So one is a brighter brown and one is a darker brown.
Right.
But I'll give you one better. A Bigfoot would be a primate, therefore it does not have fur; it has hair. Right. So they don't shed like animals that have fur usually shed.
Okay.
Primates have hair. So yeah, in actuality, the sunlight gets into the skin a little easier than it does your furry friends.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. That's why I'm looking at this going, this does kind of make sense. This fits within the norm. Yeah, and I swear, what I'm seeing here is a butt.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's got its left leg picked up, taking a step, straight leg with its right leg.
Right. Looks like it's going. Now you have, maybe you can find. So here's some suggestions I can give you. Is now you know the general direction of where it was going. It's heading in this kind of direction from here, going over to here. What I would do is I would look at that tree line and look, because just like any other game animal, it's going to, as it moves through the forest, it's going to take branches and move them and twist them. And what we've learned in the past, or what we've seen in the past, and I've tracked a couple of them for a distance, is they grab the branch, maybe on one side, and they twist it as they bring it down, and the twist breaks them normally. So you'll find yourself a trail going through with tree breaks. In this case, you're probably looking at the 6 foot level. 6'2" level, something. So it'll look like something big had moved through there, but you may not see that in the grass. You have to kind of watch the.
Oh, this is what was kind of very strange about that. In the direction, because this whole time I thought maybe it was coming towards us. In that direction, like the way that it, if it's facing away, if it went up and to the left, in that direction was an abnormally large amount of broken branches that I just attributed to, high winds since the last time I've been there or something. But they're almost kind of like they're like on a path, the path that we had. So basically there's a way that you can drive right next to the creek that we've kind of cleared out, just a rough path with a side-by-side. And along that path was several limbs that have been recently broke that I didn't even really register that even being a part of this
until now. Yeah.
Until now, just right now.
I'm sorry, that is the scapula, which you see here. This is the clavicle. The scapula is the shoulder blade. And what you see here, and this is amazing to me because you would expect to see that as the arm is coming back. So you see this arm is forward, this arm would be coming back. That's why the scapula is not present here, because it's kind of moving forward. And as you bring the other arm back, your scapula bulges. If I had my shirt off, which I don't want to horrify anybody, you would see. Damn it.
Yeah, I would go check out those
We are
breaks.
finding things. We are finding things out on the show as we go, even more now than we did before, which means I'm going to have to write another report on this one. It's pretty good.
It's would be a good idea to go back and check out those breaks and see if some of them might be just broke down and some of them might be twist breaks. if you can find anything that's a twist break, man, that's a real good indicator that was
And-
done by one of these creatures.
Bring yourself a magnifying glass. Look, because sometimes you may find a hair twisted in those breaks.
Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely way more.
And if you find a hair, don't touch it. Call me. Just call me. I'll tell you how to extract it without destroying any DNA on it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I did not think 2 and 2 at all. I just, we've had a lot of windstorms over the last year and all that stuff. But I remember like we've got this path. It's just wide enough to drive down with a side-by-side. Right. And I noticed that I hadn't been down there in a week. And when we went down, I was like, man, there's a whole bunch of limbs now that are in the way, like broke down. And there's a couple, smaller trees that have been laid over or snapped that it's like, well, that doesn't look dead enough to have fallen over.
Yeah,
but
look for those twists. Look for those twists.
That's wild. That just reinvigorates me. Now I'm even more curious. And that's crazy. Yeah, I'll go down there and take pictures and do the same thing, do whatever I can.
Please follow up with me. I would love to do an add-on, do an update for the audience and stuff like that. That would be awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm also very intrigued with what that could be now. So that's wild.
Yep. See, they can wipe hair clean now with DNA. That's why I said don't touch it. Don't want to contaminate it.
Yeah.
If you find it, the best I can say is wear a pair of nitrile gloves and bring a paper envelope. Maybe even like those little tiny manila envelopes where they put keys in sometimes.
Yeah.
Bring those in. Do not lick it, though, to seal it.
Right.
That would be bad, too.
Right.
But if you do happen to find hair, just take your gloved hand, extract it into the envelope, close the envelope up. When you get it back, or bring scotch tape that envelope closed.
Simple enough.
Yep. And that way you're not touching anything.
Okay. Yeah.
You're not like me who has, I have a DNA kit and stuff like that. I have, tubes and stuff and buckle swabs and all that.
I'm pretty low tech.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah.
So the best way I can tell you is to.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now I'm got more to investigate. So.
Be nice to be able to send something to Darby or Cut. Maybe he knows somebody that could clone us a Sasquatch from it.
That's right. Pat Collins. Now, Pat Collins is one of our witnesses, and I interviewed him. God knows how long ago now, but he happens to say, "Will, sorry to tell you, but you're now hooked on Sasquatch."
Yeah,
as he has been. Yeah,
I've kind of found that out over the last week or two. It's for something to be completely off your radar and then just jump in out of nowhere. And it's like I said, my brain wants an answer. Yeah. Like I've got to have a conclusion.
Yeah.
And so just jumping down this and trying to do everything I can to try and make it make sense and do everything I can. It's just like, I can't reach the end of where I'm like done researching now. And so now I know way more about Squatches than I ever did a few weeks ago, like 10 times more, and I'm still learning, but it's kind of crazy just how organically it's unfolded,
I would say this, and this is what I warn people a lot is, remember family first, job, God, country, family, job, then the Bigfoot can come next. Remember that always.
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
The other thing I would say is be careful at what you're watching on the internet, because there is a lot of bad stuff out there. So if you have a question on anything, you have me as a resource. Please feel free to call me and ask me questions.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, speaking of family, Will, does this make you feel apprehensive now of taking the kids out there, or since they're going out there in the daylight, you're probably not going to have any problem?
Well, a little bit. I mean, honestly, just because I go completely off of X and Y's. So I need to know what this is. Once I know what that is, I can determine how I react to this. And with this still being an unknown, I don't really know how to treat it. It's like I still don't have a direct answer, and it's like we know that it's there. It's not nothing. It was something, and it doesn't match anything else. And so it's like, being down there, that far away. I mean, there's no quick way to get in and out of where this is. I mean, it's in the middle of nowhere down. I mean, you can't even get there in a pickup truck. I mean, you would have to take a four-wheeler or something. I mean, just being down in there with, I mean, it absolutely does make me a little more apprehensive, just, a little more on edge. I'm always looking for, cottonmouths and copperheads and, could be a mountain lion, who knows, something like that. But I mean, it's, we'd never see them out here, but it's just like, what is it?
The one thing to remember is that normally they're not aggressive. So, primates of one species rarely attack primates of another species. Rarely. There are some exceptions. We've seen chimpanzees go after monkeys, but it's a cultural thing. We've seen people eat monkeys, in some cultures. Some cultures poach gorillas. But every time we see it, normally we get that very negative reaction to it. And that's part of our primate background, because in a way, we're related to them. And you got to understand, we're related to them. They may speak a completely different language in their head than we do, as far as, their thought process is concerned. I would, if you're out there at night, the best way to stop a Sasquatch encounter is shine a light. It'll go away.
We've always got a light, unfortunately. So,
it's 12:30 in the afternoon, and you're right. I think they are very well adapted at night because of their eye shine, and in a lot of reports they've reported eye shine. But are they truly nocturnal? Somebody said they may be crepuscular. Crepuscular means that it's kind of a dusk till mid-afternoon type of dweller. So they do wander around during part of the daylight. Bobcats
during the day. Yep.
Bobcats, for example, are crepuscular. They that's their time. They're not straight nocturnals. Now, animals like raccoons are nocturnal. Porcupines nocturnal. Once in a while, though, you always find a nocturnal animal out and about during the day because of some disturbance or something, in whatever's going on in their coconut. You'll see them, but that's a rare. Most of the time, you see a porcupine, it's at night. Believe it or not, I was lucky enough to get a picture of a porcupine in the daytime. I think that's because we were marching through near his den, and he decided to book out of there. So there has to generally be a reason. That's why you'll see a raccoon sometimes in the daytime if there's a very the only raccoon I've ever seen in the daytime was a very pregnant raccoon, and she looked like she was about 25 pounds. She was huge, and she was in the garbage bin, and she was pregnant. She was hungry, and that happens. And again, that's another thing that'll necessarily break a cycle. This looks like it's just hoovering. I don't know where to or why. The fact is that a minute, you did not get any more pictures of it, and you checked it a minute later. Let's say you got to understand that it may have taken that picture, and it may have taken a couple of minutes for it to get to you. And then by the time you get on and log on, 3 or 4 minutes could have passed from the actual time you looked.
Right.
The time it's actually moved out, which a human probably would be able to get out of frame that quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if it's going in the direction it's going.
Yeah.
So I'm just giving you some food for thoughts, or my thoughts as one of the investigators on this.
Yeah. I mean, there's several more things I'm going to look at. I mean, just since we've been talking about it, I've been, talking to you for a while now about it, and there's there's a lot that I would like to go knowing more now that I know, since when it happened, there's a lot more I would like to look into as far as, especially that direction. I always assumed it was coming towards the camera, so I put more focus on from
Right.
this
now
one.
now you're thinking, oh, we should have been looking the other way.
Yeah. And so, that kind of changes everything, and it's just, but I mean, we kind of did like we were looking for the obvious. We made a few circles looking for just, like what we know exists, like something that could be that big. I mean, a bear or a cow or something like that. I mean, there's no prints like that. So, but knowing that, I mean, that'll give us a direction to look. And like I said, those branches still just kind of, that clicked when you said that, and I noticed them. I didn't think anything of them. So now that's got me, fired up again about that. I'm like, I didn't even think about that.
Kaiju Ninja said, "What's the plan going forward?"
It's just learn. Well, I've learned a lot. I mean, even just talking to you guys, but I mean, I'm going to go immediately as soon as I can and go back down and try and investigate some of them branches and some of that stuff that I noticed, a week or two ago. And then, I mean, since then there's 5 more cameras out there that I put out, just all over that area. Just
right
now. I want to just show you something real quick. You see that even in the PG film, there is wearing in certain areas. So that's, and looking at this, and when I look at this, it makes me kind of wonder, because you're seeing like a lighter patch right here, which makes kind of sense because that's where the arm would necessarily move to and fro. That's why we have no very little hair on our sides, because that's just constant wear. If you look at our upper thighs, because we sit a lot and we have our hands in our lap and we walk and we keep things in our pockets, we have limited hair on our upper thighs. So there is a lot of very...
Pat Collins wants you to play that whoop sound and see if Will has ever heard anything like that in that area. Have we got that one on the board, or did it go away?
I got the one on the board, yeah. So this, and Will, this is a capture we recorded 2 years ago up in my research area, and you'll hear a bunch of talking. This is the full audio. This isn't the cut audio, and I'll just play this. And you'll hear one of the guys from Small Town Monsters, Alex Petikoff, talking with a couple of other researchers, including our good Finding the Trackway. He was usually in chat. And take a listen.
Whatever it is, I mean, it's animal shaped. It's just not moving.
So they're talking about something they're seeing on the FLIR.
It's got brighter, too. Because we had a run-in with a bear out here last year, so this is kind of fresh in my mind.
Well, I lost the eye shine now.
So ready? I'll show you where the eye shine is. Ready?
Oh, yeah, there you go.
It is standing right there. All right, so check this out. Who the hell was that?
That was me.
Oh.
That was me.
So ready? So look up. Come stand over where I am. So you see where Evan is? See that object behind him?
Oh, yeah.
That is something, and like that's where that eye shine is. See that? I don't know
coming
what
up.
that is.
No shit.
It looks like it's like something on fours though. It hasn't moved the entire time. That's what I don't get.
Yeah, that's the weird thing.
But I mean, you can see its freaking eyes right there. I don't know. I mean, my thought was a rock, because rocks sometimes they gain.
Drop that on you.
Oh, yeah, no worries. But yeah, but I don't understand what the heck it's doing.
I mean, it's not a. I don't know what eye shine a bear returns.
It's either the most patient bear in the world, or some kind of a stone with reflectors on it that's glowing more brightly than most stones I've seen.
It looks orange.
I mean, it's like as orange as Evan is.
Yeah, no, that is it's more orange than he is.
Dude, did you just hear that?
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's, that was the whoop.
And
So
it seems like a familiar sound. Like I mean, and so it's hard pulling this up without,
Yeah. Just,
no, it's
just think about it.
without
keep
it
that-
being on my radar. It's like,
Right.
I know I've heard like that sounds like a familiar sound, I've never really even plugged it into memory until now, because I'd never thought, just like,
Right.
oh, it's
Sure. And
You know.
and the cool thing is that mumbling you hear in the background before that happened was me basically yelling at them, "Hey, come on, fellas, you know who I am. I'm here all the time. I'm not a threat, blah, blah, blah." And then boom. Because that's what I normally do when I get there a lot of times. As I get there, I knock a few times, I whoop a couple of times, and I shout out at them. Because I'm kind of trying to get them to understand that I am not a threat. Will wants me to play that here. Bill wants me to play that again. But before we do that, let me ask this question from Kaiju Ninja. Have you heard wood knocking?
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I might have and not have even, registered. You know what I mean? It's like
Right.
if I wasn't looking for it, I'm not really. I mean, I've heard tons of strange noises out there. We all have. But it's like without me knowing and directly like plugging it into a memory, it's never really registered. I mean, now that my senses are heightened to a lot of this stuff, I'm gonna, obviously make more of a mental note to look for a lot of this stuff. But it's like, I know we've heard all kinds of strange noises over the years.
You know what you might want to start doing is maybe getting a cheap digital recorder and just, it's going to be a nice weather for a few days.
Just leave it out.
Just leave it out in the woods somewhere.
Yeah.
You know where it is. Or even under or under the trail camera, so it's protected from anything.
Yeah.
And Jen says, Steve, if you could pull up the picture from the PG film of Patty walking away, just her back and her booty would be a good comparison.
I would probably have to search for that one. Let me see if I still got the.
I've seen what she's talking about, though. I
Yes.
think you're right, Jen. It would be a good comparison, a good match, maybe.
Yeah, let me.
Fellas, I might have to leave you for about 30 seconds to take a leak.
Go ahead. You're fine.
All right, yeah,
You're
go
fine.
ahead.
I'll be right back.
All right.
Sure, no problem.
All right. Hard to say, Kaiju Ninja. Kaiju Ninja asked me, do I think there would be footprints? Hard to say because I'm not familiar with the substrate in the area. In New York, it wouldn't surprise me if there weren't.
Well, he's already described the ground as being extremely dry, and it was even cracked. So that means the ground is really hard there. Of course, now where it's walking in the stream, that's not going to be hard, but it's walking on rocks, gravel.
Right.
But now the only chance it would have would be to find the exact area that it exited the stream and then follow that pathway and maybe run up on a track somewhere.
So Kylie or Kaylee, Will's sister asks, "Do we have a clip of the wood knocks?" No, you'll just hear something very similar to that. It'll sound like wood on wood, almost like a baseball hitting a bat, and you hear that pop.
Maybe
Sometimes they'll come in a series. But you have to be careful with tree knocks because, especially if it gets cold out, and I know sometimes Missouri does get cold. Usually when the temperatures hit below 32 degrees, trees will begin to expand and contract, and they will make that same popping noise.
Yep.
So if it's above freezing, tree knocking should not be normal. So if it's 40 degrees plus, you should not have that kind of sound coming from a tree. So, but I do not have a clip of a wood knock, not handy or not uploaded to the board yet. So I do have tree knock recordings that were taken probably like 12 years ago, maybe even more. Been at it so long.
Bill wants to know, said, has he heard the rock clacking? I don't know, Bill. I don't think this was Sasquatch activity was much on Will's mind prior to this photo.
And I'm sorry for being so ignorant to.
No. Don't even say that. You're
No.
you know.
I you know, it, like I said, it just this is as organic as it can possibly get, and that's, you know, that's what I wanted to do, was just get, you know, all the physical data I possibly could, you know, wrote down,
Right.
documented everything I could to just see, you know, what this was. It's, you know, I wasn't looking for this, is what's crazy to me, you know, and this just came completely across a camera of mine. And, you know, because honestly, for the first like day before I even posted about it on Facebook, I was like, do I even say anything? Like, you know, like, you know, I didn't even know what to do with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, like I said, we're out here from time to time. We hear stuff all the time, but it's just, I mean, it's white noise if I'm not looking for it. And I think that's why it's so easy. You know, if you know, if you're not looking for it, you know, it's like, you know, I don't know what a comparison would be. I mean, there's several things that can exist in your subconscious that are important that you don't actually register because they're not on your radar, but they're right there. And so now there's a whole bunch of things that I'm like, wow, that could have been this, or that could have been this, that, you know, now I'm, you know, alerted to the fact that this could be, you know, here or there, you know, or, you know what I mean? It's just,
Yeah. I mean, and we're not so sure that necessarily wood knocks are Bigfoot related. We have the assumption they are because of the way that the mannerisms they would be made, and they're prevalent in some Bigfoot hotspots.
right.
No, but I don't believe we may have a documented case or two of a Bigfoot knocking on trees, but I don't know the veracity report, and that would make them kind of anecdotal.
Yeah.
But
other primates do. Other primates communicate, or well, we say communicate, but you know, other primates knock on trees.
Chimpanzees do.
Yes. So that would not be out of the ordinary behavior for a primate.
Correct. And you know what we'll do is, if it's okay, I'd like to get back in touch with you in the next few days.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about any kind of strategies you may have, or any questions that you may have, or you know, you don't feel great asking in front of the public. And that's
absolutely.
And because you know, I try to be a resource to people. There are a lot of good people in this chat too that are great resources. Obviously, with that wonderful picture there that fixed that with Bigfoot fades.
That you know, it's just and that was my whole thing. Was my brain didn't really know what to make it at first. I mean, as soon as I look at it, I'm like, man, that looks like a Bigfoot, you know.
Yeah.
And then that's why it was important, you know, just putting it out there on Facebook. Facebook's the first place I put it, and just asked everyone else what they saw.
Right.
And that's why there was an overwhelming amount of people that's like, dude, I see what you see. It looks like a bit. And so I was like, okay, well, hopefully someone who knows more about this than me can dig into this and, you know, check the facts, check that, like what you did, you know, check out all the physicalities of it, and, you know, the data on it, and check that. And so the fact that it's, you know, still prevalent with all of that is just, you know, kind of mind blowing, that it's like, wow, this is really, you know, could be here. It's kind of crazy. It's still,
it still hasn't hit home yet, and it's been almost 2 months. But it's like, but the thing is, it's been quiet.
Sure.
I'm going to put up this question. Do you know any other people that may be living within the surrounding community area that you could ask about activity or this forested area the caveat that hopefully you're completely nuts.
Wait a minute. I think my internet connection is breaking up, or yours is one, Steve. The question was kind of garbled.
Okay, yeah, I think it was mine because the whole thing is refreshed. You got me now, good?
No, it's still garbled.
It's getting a little better. I can hear Chris pretty well.
Can you hear me? Is it me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So, Kaijin asks, do you know any other people that may be living within the surrounding area that you could ask about activity? Is it a forested area? Or is this a forested area? But are there any neighbors that you could ask, basically, or anybody nearby, without sounding crazy? I guess is the caveat that I.
So, yeah, here's the crazy thing: is it's our chunk here, and then in that area, I mean, probably for the surrounding, I'm gonna say like 2,500 acres. There's only like 4 or 5 of us that own all of that, and they're some of the first people I talked to.
Oh, very good.
And because I was just like, is someone screwing with me, or is there? And it's like, and they're all just as interested, intrigued, and and I mean, like I said, there's not really any way to get down there. That's on us right there. But I mean, everyone around there is like, I don't know what it is. Like, I've been checking my game cams. I don't have this. I don't have that. I haven't seen this. But no one else actually has a camera that I've talked to from the highway. The closest highway that creek goes under is probably 1.5 miles upstream from there as a crow flies. So, I mean, the creek itself, way more than that, way more distance. And, no one that I've talked to has a camera on the creek from there or there. And what's ironic too is right where this picture is taken on 10 Mile, if you go down the stream, probably another 1/4 mile, that stream ends and tees into a bigger creek called Cane Creek. And then there's nothing. I mean, it's a way bigger creek. There's no sides right there, which is really swampy. And so, this is the second to last property that 10 Mile goes through before it's no longer 10 Mile Creek.
Right.
I mean, it's pretty desolate down there, but none of my neighbors around have seen anything. We're all intrigued. Everyone is extremely curious because it's like I've had several people like lean in that I've talked to just in town locally here. They're like, hey, now what was that? What really was that? I'm like, dude, it's like you're seeing it. Like I'm just as curious as you are. Like I don't, I was like that's why I put everything out there. I'll answer any question anyone has about it. I'll tell you everything I know about it. Every single detail that anyone is interested in, I will give them the facts. Like I said, I give you the camera make, model, when I bought it, this, that, the other. I'll take a tape measure down there. I'll show you what I was doing that day. Like I just wanted, I wanted answers just like everyone else,
Looking for answers. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was it, and that's all I got on that, but.
Well, Kaylee says, Stringtown is like a dead in town just past our road. And I've always felt like the end of the Stringtown is incredibly rural and a great area for something like this to be hiding.
Yeah.
Got a lot of swampy areas and a lot of water creeks and
yeah. So this is as far as a town like this, like Poplar Bluff, the population, I think the city population, I think is probably like 16,000 or something like that. But somewhere in there, it was at least on the last census. But it's like every 2-lane blacktop road that goes out of town within about 10 minutes of driving.
Right.
If it doesn't hit another road going to another town, it turns into gravel. And that's just, that's the way this is. Yeah. We live out at the very end of M Highway, which is probably 10 or 15 minutes west of Poplar Bluff. And if you keep driving through there, you hit this little place called Stringtown, Missouri, which is an awesome little place. There's like 5 houses, 1 grocery store, awesome place.
Yeah.
But
There it is, Stringtown, right there.
Yeah, yeah, that's it.
So we're right in this area here.
Yeah, and it's just it's
A lot of
there's-
green. Yeah.
There's nothing between. I mean,
Yeah.
when you're in Stringtown, you're pretty much in the middle of nowhere. I mean, there's nothing there anyway. But I mean,
And this picture is zoomed out quite a bit, so
right, yeah.
just so we can get everything in. But yeah, it's. I mean, you look at that whole area. You look at Stringtown, and you go west. There's nothing till Grandin, if that's even a town.
It's not. It's not much. I mean, Grandin is the size of. I mean, if it wasn't already a town, it wouldn't be a town now. I mean, there's, it's 50, 100 houses, 2 or 3 gas stations, a water tower. That's it. I mean, just in the middle of the hills. There. I mean, this is what they call the gateway to the Ozarks. Poplar Bluff is what they call the gateway to the Ozarks.
Right.
And it's right where, and if you look from the bottom right of the screen over, it gets flat from there on out.
Yeah.
Right.
And from Poplar Bluff west, it just gets huge and hilly and more rural. And I mean, from Poplar Bluff out that way, I mean, yeah, it's just there's just nothing but hills and hollers out this way. And
oh, Chris, he's speaking your language, baby. Hills and hollers.
Oh, I understood that. Yes.
Yes, in New York we call them mountains and valleys.
Well, just by glancing at the satellite imagery here, I mean, I can just bam. There's at least half a dozen large bodies of water, and there's going to be creeks and streams connecting all those together. It looks like a really good area for these creatures to be moving around in.
Well, my thought too, and I don't even know if this is legitimate, but I mean, if something, if it was traveling, but trying to stay in the hills, I mean, obviously it'd be harder to navigate, or not harder to navigate, harder to stay hidden, if you're trying to evade people in the flats,
Yep.
I guess east of town, like down, which would be 60 East, 53 Highway.
Right.
Some of them, but if you go the opposite direction, you can just skirt along the edge of the Ozarks, right where the hills are, and that's kind of right where we are, and it's like there's only, a handful of ways that, I mean, there's several waterways in there, but I mean, there's the bigger ones. There's like Current River, Black River, St. Francis River, which it's a little more. It comes out of Wayne County, I think Wayne County, which is Wapapello. It's the the in and outflow of it, but. There's a couple big streams and creeks and stuff like that. And like 10 Mile, it's not a creek that people really frequent because no one really does. If you go to it, you just go right to it. But it's like during the summer, it doesn't flow very much. It just kind of has standing pools and there's always water moving through it. Cane Creek's a little bigger, but I mean, there's tons of creeks like that just connect all these different places,
Yeah. Well, Will, we had a question from Pat Collins. He wants to know, are there mushrooms around the creeks?
So a lot of my buddies, and I'm a little arrogant to this. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to know. There's morels or morals or whatever.
Morels, yep.
Yeah. A bunch of my buddies go looking for those all the time. And I know that some of my friends have gone down in there in these areas and they'll find just massive piles of these.
Right.
I've never personally gone for them. I mean, I'd like to, I think it'd be exciting, but it's something that I've never really personally done, but I know there are tons around here. Based off of what my buddies showed me, they're like, man, look at this catch of them that we got, and stuff.
You're like, yeah, it's a bunch of mushrooms.
Well, yeah, you know how it is. It's like just like this, not like that's cool. I don't, I
look at my picture of Bigfoot. Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about how they do it in Missouri, but in Kentucky around March, April, somewhere around in there, that's when this mushroom hunting comes in. Everybody goes out in the woods looking for mushrooms. But this time of year, though, they would probably be a little tough, a little woody, so I wouldn't think too many Bigfoots would be chewing on them. But what do I know? You never know.
Yeah, I mean that's that's
They may
weird.
like them a little
Good
tougher.
night, Maxwell. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
But Maxwell also said, "Great show tonight. I want to thank Will so much for sharing."
Yeah, absolutely. I said this is like someone said earlier, like, man, the bug has bit me. I'm more, like I said, just me personally. I am a very black and white person. I have to have numbers. I have to have things that I can physically see. And so, if someone else, here's my thing, like if someone else just showed me this, I'd be like, I don't know, man. But it's like, because it's me, I know what I got. I took the picture
Right.
at a third-party server that I had no control over, all that stuff. We did all our due diligence, checking the data, the sizes, all that stuff. Send it to several people, like you included. I mean, just everyone who has just confirmed what we're seeing too.
Right.
And now it's my brain is even more intrigued with what, like what, it's just,
Right.
it's kind of crazy to me, honestly.
Well, we've got another.
It's just so amazing when you dehaze it.
We've got another question from Kaylee here. I want to get this one in. I think Kaylee is our inside source here.
Yeah, like I said, that's my sister. She's
Kaylee said, "Did you and Jared have any odd experience when y'all hiked the Irish wilderness at night near Van Buren?"
No, so
she's throwing. I think she just threw a ringer in there.
Yeah, let's hear more. Let's hear some about this.
Oh, hold on. Well, hang on. Before we get to that story, let's appropriately announce this one. Never mind. Go ahead.
Well, anyway, that's my sister. She, her and her husband live in Colorado with their kids. But she grew up here. So she knows the area just like we. No, this was probably, I don't know, 12, 13, 14 years ago. Me and my brother, so the Irish wilderness, I think one of you brought that up earlier. It just vast, huge amounts of forest in this area. And me and my brother just wanted to go out there and we were going to go camping. And so we went out, we dropped off, I think somewhere between like Van Buren and Poplar Bluff, which, I mean, there's just a huge shape west of Poplar Bluff,
right,
that connects. Like if you go down Elsinore, right there where it says 60, down below Elsinore, like to somewhere up there, that one in the middle.
Right.
Somewhere in there, and just straight down from there, Irish wilderness. There's a huge chunk down there, a couple thousand acres, or probably way more than that. But we started walking, and for whatever reason, we started walking at I don't know, like 9 p.m. and we were just going to walk till we got tired and just pitch a tent.
Right.
There was no good place to put a tent for about 5 miles. And so we walked and walked and walked and walked, and it was creepy because it never opened up. I mean, it is no man's land in there. I mean, there was not a place to put a tent that was not chest high, creepy grass,
Right.
swamp area. And so we were just kind of a little hesitant to stop anywhere we couldn't see, around us.
Right.
And so we got out about 5 miles out, and then finally found this little campground. But it wasn't really, it was creepy. It was creepy. That's all I can say about it. It wasn't what we thought, and so we're like, do we want to just stay here? Because we don't even know if we're on the right trail. We ran out of cell service like 3 hours ago.
Right.
And so we turned around, we walked back. So we ended up walking back another 5 miles. So you don't see anyone out there. I mean, there's nothing. We were the only two souls out there, and got back and ended up pitching the tent at the parking lot at the entrance to the trail. But I mean, there's just all kinds of weird stuff. I mean, it was just me and him. And so, one of us was looking forward. One kept checking our back the whole time, just because it's just, man, the stuff you hear out there is just.
What were you hearing?
I don't know, strange stuff. And that's my other thing too. I'm an Eagle Scout. I was an Eagle Scout before I got to 18. I mean, I've camped my whole life, and I'm proud of that. I've done a lot with that. I've camped my whole life. roughed it here, there, the everywhere, whatever. But it just there's some places that's just kind of like it doesn't feel very like homely to, it's still wild. It's still completely wild. There's no type of tame environment when you get that far into certain places like that. And there's several creepy stories about the Irish wilderness and people like not civilizations, like groups of people that were inhabiting this like early on, like back in the 1800s, just entire groups that just disappeared and stuff like that. And there's a weird thing too, just on a side note, like Grandin, like we were talking about, there's a big deal with strange lights over Grandin that people have talked about for years. And it's these weird orange lights that pop up over Grandin and no one knows what they are, but they've been documented back to, like the 20s and 30s.
Right.
And we've seen those. My whole family has seen them. We've watched them off our front porch. We've got pictures of them, and it's in that area over there is the Irish wilderness. And so it's like, are they, the Marley Woods, all that stuff. It's just
while you guys were hiking back there, Will, and you got to that camping area, or supposed to be a camping area, did you get this creeped out feeling at any time?
Yeah.
Is that why you guys went back?
That's why we walked 5 miles back. I mean, we walked the second we pitched our tent. When we got back to the parking lot, we were out.
Right.
But I mean, that was pretty much our whole motive for going back. It's, it just, I don't know, had this really unwelcoming feel. And not trying to add anything to it, not trying to make it overly creepy. It just, it was kind of creepy. It was really creepy.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's your sixth sense, that's picking up something's going on. You start feeling those little the hairs on the back of your neck standing up. That's not just your imagination. That's there for a reason.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm a big believer in spidey senses. If it doesn't feel right, it's probably not right. If your hair's standing up, something's probably, off,
Right.
But I don't know. It's just, there's a lot of mystery around it. It's all government land. So, it's, no one's going out there chopping trees down, stuff like that. So, I mean, it's whatever's been there has been there forever.
Haunted Vermont has jumped on these lights here. So question about these lights. Is there any cemeteries, mines, railroads, or something involving minerals?
I really couldn't tell you. I know there's a bunch about it online. I know from, I mean, it's over Grandin. There's a bunch. If you Google it, strange lights over Grandin, Missouri, it will come up with a bunch of stuff. I think the UFO hunters have been out there before, some stuff like that. But I mean, it's weird. Like this was probably 15 years ago. We were standing on our porch out here by the farm, and there was these orange lights, and they would just appear right over the horizon. They just appear just out of nowhere at night, like 9-10 at night, and then just split. And then they would kind of do some weird stuff and then fade out. And then another one would just appear. And then 2 more would appear right next to it. And they just hover for 60 seconds, 2 minutes, something. And then they would just one would fall off. One would split into 2 more and just do weird stuff. And my brother Red, what was crazy about this was Grandin is northwest of where we're at. He was on his way to Springfield, Missouri on 60 West. And he was driving that direction, and he saw the exact same thing and called us, not knowing that we were watching them off the front porch.
Wow.
He called us and saw them to his south, which was between us and him.
Yeah.
And so we knew that they were not, in orbit. They're down here somewhere. Right. And but they were way closer to him than they were to us, because he said they were right over his head. He could see them out of the sunroof. And that, like I said, that was 15 years ago plus, which is crazy.
Hey, Chris, we have a request. Grant needs a Snapple.
Joan, get me a Snapple.
All right, there we go. Another inside joke, Will.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
But if you hear this voice,
Joan, get me a Snapple.
run. just
Noted.
run.
Noted.
Well, Kaiju Ninja 1985 was wanting to know, it says, has Will ever heard any strange chatter in the woods?
And like I was saying earlier, I mean, I have, you hear all kinds of strange stuff out here, but it's never really been on my radar till now.
Exactly.
And I hate that. I mean, there's no telling what I've missed. I just,
No.
if you're not, trying to, it's like you hear gunshots out in the woods all the time. It's like,
Right.
I don't think anything of it because there's, our neighbors, you might hear a gunshot a mile away and it might be your buddy shooting in something, doing some target practice on the weekend or something like that. We hear it all the time. I don't think anything of it. If it's like, if you're in the middle of an inner city, you start hearing gunshots. It's like, well, maybe.
And as somebody that's getting into this and being new to this, don't overthink things like that either.
Yeah.
It's a fine balance. It's kind of like a soundboard. You can't have too much and you can't have too little. You got to have somewhere in between there where you're aware enough, but you're not over. Like I've been with Bigfoot witnesses that, you hear oh, and the guy will grab my arm and go, "That's an owl, a Bigfoot imitating an owl." How about it's just an owl?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you want to.
Jen says the woods will never be the same.
Very true.
Exactly.
Especially for the kids. That's the big thing. I was like, I think my oldest, he's heard me talking about this. He's like, what is that? What was on your phone? I was like, how do I tell him?
How old your oldest?
9.
Well, you never know. It was about maybe a year earlier. I think I was 8 when I first heard. Legend of Boggy Creek came out in 1975. Well, 19 earlier, but I watched it probably in 1976, 77, and at that time I was 7 or 8 years old. So that was really the first time that.
It's right there, close to his age. Yeah.
Right, and my godfather, had read one of John Keel's books that was written under Eric Baum, called The Abominable Snowman, and he talked to me about it, and then he gifted me that book. And that kind of put the bug in mine at a very early age.
Right.
And then I became a teenager, and cars and girls were the number one raging thing. You forget about that stuff.
Yeah.
But as I worked as a professional investigator, all of a sudden this thing came back into my life again. I'm like, well, I bet you this is all a bunch of crap. But as it turned out, it was not. And I'm a trained forensic interviewer. And I was watching these people's reactions. And just so you folks know, I don't see any reaction here of anything wrong with Will. Just so if you're wondering, well, what's Steve? I wonder what really Steve thinks. If Steve thought there was something wrong, Will would not be on the show tonight. So
I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm trying to be as transparent as possible. Like I said, I'm the messenger of the data.
It's a good way to put it.
I want everyone to do what they can with it. And I am more than happy to talk to anyone, just give all the info that I possibly have, So
Okay, Patty's back in Messenger. Hang on. We got one picture that people want to compare, and then we got to get rolling because it's already 10:54 already.
Yep.
Wow, time flies when you're having great conversation and great evidence.
Yeah, this one went by pretty fast because we've got a great guest and he's got some great evidence.
Appreciate it. Yeah, this has been a lot of fun.
But I'm going to make a comment about Jen's comment here. She said, the woods will never be the same. And that is so true. And I think that's a lot of how Bigfoot gets away, these creatures, Sasquatch, whatever you want to call them. I think that's a lot of how they get away with it because the 99% of the people are walking through the woods, hiking, whatever, and they'll spot some movement out of the corner of their eye and they'll stop. And they'll just take a quick glance over and then they don't see anything right away. So they say to themselves, must have been nothing.
Yeah, it's not on.
And Right. It's not in their train of thought that, there's any possibility it could have been something. So they
Right.
just walk on. But now after you realize that there is a possibility that there are creatures out there like this, when you spot some movement out of the corner of your eye while you're hiking, you're going to stop. Now you're going to take a good long look. What did I see?
Now,
Yeah.
now look at the arm length from Patty to your photo. Doesn't look any different. Same size. Somebody had made a comment that, well, the arms look a little short. Arms look the same. The arms come down to mid thigh like it does on Patty almost. And then if you expand those fingers, it would probably drop even a little further. Same thing with Patty. So you're seeing a lot of very similar effect between those two pictures. And you probably thought that the Patterson-Gimlin film was probably a bunch of garbage.
I've always been up in the air. It's without me ever physically seeing one. I'm open-minded.
Yep.
But look, the backside looks the same.
Yeah, I mean the shadows, the hues where they should be on the shoulders,
Look at that.
and on the lower back butt area, and then where the legs are darker. I mean, it's
So the height estimate was anywhere from 8.25 to about 10.5 feet tall. I would say I would put it, looking at the pictures, eyeballing it, and I'm very good at eyeballing heights. Understand that I did a lot, 34 years of watching people and having to judge heights. I would probably say it's about 8.5 foot tall. It's a big boy.
Yep.
It is a big boy. That is definitely a male. Big boy. And that's just my gut feeling on that. So I'm not saying that with any scientific impedance, but I am entitled every once in a while to throw my opinion out there. Yeah. And, it is, I mean, wow.
yeah.
Look at that. I mean, that DeHaze photo really, and I can probably bring that DeHaze photo even a little bit bigger. Oop, didn't want to do that.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing is how well all of the contrast with where the sun would meet the hair is making sense. Where it should be light, it's light. Where it's in the shadow, it's dark. It should be dark. It is. That's what's crazy is like the fundamentals are there. It's
and Bigfoot fades. Yeah, it says 8 to 10 foot tall. We did the exact measurements using formulas and stuff.
Yeah.
And it came out to 8.25 to 10.5. I would say 10.5 is the extreme. The 8.25 is the conservative side. So, 8.5, I think, is probably a good guesstimate. At most 9 feet, which is really tall. I never thought they would get that tall. I thought 8 foot was probably the upper limits, maybe 8.5. But 9 foot, yeah, that's pretty.
If that other image was mirrored too and like flipped to where it was actually like it was walking the same way, like they're literally in the same stance,
Right.
looking at it like that. It's
That's interesting.
kind of ironic. Like, man, I just looking between.
Isn't that wild?
That is.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Just
Yeah,
Jen
and
said
I
just
mean,
comparing the back shape
Look
of
at
the
the
two,
butt.
pretty
The butt.
undeniable.
We always talk about the butt, right? Look at that. Coincidence?
That's
I
pretty.
think not. But anyway, Chris, you know what?
Bob Hieronymus, maybe.
Yeah. Anybody know where Bob Hieronymus was?
yeah.
Last,
Wow, this has been a great show. Thank you again, Will. It's been a pleasure having you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This has been a lot of fun. This is so crazy. I'm still just kind of mind blown with how this is all going. So
I really like what you got here. Of course, nobody, we can't jump up and say this is definitive Sasquatch, but I'll tell you what, when it comes to evidence, it's either I like it or I don't care nothing about it at all. I like this very much. I think it's, I think you got something. You're on to something.
It's probably the best capture we've seen in a while.
Absolutely.
When you dehaze it, it's like, wow, you can't deny it. So again, thank you.
wow.
So, Will, I want to thank you, brother. I will be in touch with you this week. We'll chit
Yeah,
chat.
absolutely. Sounds good. Sounds good. Sounds great. And I appreciate you having me on.
Oh, anytime, brother. Anytime. All right, you be good. We'll
right,
see
will
you
do.
shortly.
See you guys.
And just be real. And you guys over to chat, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We appreciate you. We know that we have the absolute best audience we could ever hope to have, and this is only possible because of you. If it's your first time watching the show, please consider subscribing to the channel. Leave a like if you haven't already on the video. And if you guys over on the podcast listening want to see some, you've got to get over to the YouTube channel to see this picture. It's at youtube.com/@SquatchD But again, thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate you. And I just can't say enough good things about our audience. We love you guys. Back to you, Steve.
Hey guys, I want to thank again Will another time for coming on and sharing this info. This was amazing. And when I ran that report, I was like, wow. But thank you, Chris, for being a co-host as always. And I want to thank our audience. We love you guys. We truly do. We couldn't do this without you. And you want to go extra steps, see a little more on the wild side, you can always join the membership. It's cheap. It's $1 a month at the lowest price, and you get everything. So, and it helps support good and honest Bigfoot research. But anyway, another way, go visit our store over at squatchdetective.com. And we have a new store. You get a lot of good swag over there, a lot of cool stuff. Anyway, love you guys. Everybody, have a great week. We'll see you all Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on Squatch-D TV. Love you guys. Be good. God bless.
We thank you for being here with us on Squatch-D TV. If you haven't taken the time yet, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And oh yes, hit that notification bell too. We don't want you to miss anything. If you really like our content, you should consider becoming a member, and it's really inexpensive and a great way to support not only the show, but honest Bigfoot research. Everyone have a great week. Be safe and God bless. We will see you all here next time on Squatch-D TV. Keep on squatching.